TV, man. Hey, so fans are going to be there, and I'm sure we all want to know how excited you guys are about that. How much will that add?
Yeah, so Coach Desco told us after practice today, like in like our team huddle, he kind of just mentioned it, and everyone's eyes just kind of lit up. I think the fans were really excited. That, being able to watch us last year, we were having a great season, had all that great momentum, and I think that we got something special here going again. And just the fact that we can have fans in the building makes it that much more of a home field advantage for us, especially in this new dome. I don't know if you guys have had the opportunity to be in there yet, but it's really, really special. And yeah, it's just kind of brings that extra edge and excitement for us to be able to play in front of fans. And I'm sure the fans will be ecstatic to be there as well.
And even if there's only like 900 of them,
Yeah.
just to see faces and not cardboard cutouts, what'll that be like?
Yeah, of course. It'll be really great. Sometimes in the games without fans, it can almost seem like a bit awkward, like, since there hasn't been fans or anything like that. But yeah, it'll just be great to see some faces in there and just know that like there's a bunch of people out there, no matter how many people in there that are rooting us on and encouraging us every step of the way during the game. So definitely exciting.
Thanks, Noah.
Thanks, Mark. Next, we have Ben Schulman.
Hey, Owen. Brett Kennedy moves up to LSM for a lot of last game. What does that do for the offense overall, specifically in the transition game?
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, everyone who's watched Brett knows that he is a big threat in transition. He can score. He can pass the ball. He's just kind of lethal in that position. He's a great close defender. Don't get me wrong, but I think that just kind of what it does for our offense and for our transition when he can pick up the ball and has the freedom to go over the midfield line and take shots and draw a slide and open people up, because people are going to slide to him because they know that he can score the ball just as well as anyone else out on the field, really. So it's really just kind of opens up the rest of our offense, and just the speed of the game gets a lot faster, as you could probably see. We had a bunch of fast break opportunities. A lot of those were because of Brett, and he scored as well. So definitely helps the offense out.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ben. Next, we have Mario Sacco.
All right, Owen, we saw a completely different team against Virginia, and then we saw, in the opener against Army. What is this team through these first two games, and what can we see against Vermont on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, against Army, we started really hot, as everyone saw, and I think maybe you saw some complacency there, kind of just thought we were going to roll them. But, we had a great week of practice against Virginia, and we really focused on the things that we messed up on against Army. And, we really focused on our mistakes, worked on all of like the little things a lot. And we executed very well against Virginia. I think that, some people might say that we got like our mojo back or whatever, but I mean, I don't really personally think that it was ever gone. We had one bad game. That was our first loss since Loyola in 2019 in the playoffs. So, can't win every single game every time. That would be great. But, I think that this team is really special, just like last year's. And I think that the closeness and the togetherness that we have, everyone's on the same page. And I think against Vermont this weekend, you can expect to see more of the same that you saw last Saturday. Just the team working more as one unit, really fixing on the mistakes that we made against Virginia as well, because it wasn't a perfect game by any means anyways. And I think that you can see the same kind of energy and that head hard hustle that everyone's looking for.
Good luck, man. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mario. Next, we have Andrew Crane.
Hey, Owen. I'm curious what your offseason was kind of like. You had the, long offseason after the season was canceled. Were you able to get back home to Texas? And, what were some of the areas you were working on, and how'd you kind of do that?
Right, yeah, for sure. So when the season got shut down, unfortunately, I went back home to Texas for a bit, for a few months. Kind of took a little bit of time off from lacrosse, to be honest. I was still doing workouts every day, being in the gym and stuff, but kind of doing skills and stuff kind of took a bit off because, we were kind of right in the middle of the season, and it was nice to have a little bit of a break for a while. But yeah, so I actually came back up to Syracuse for the summer, and I worked out here, and I would go out and shoot every day. I kind of last season in that last Hopkins game, I made the transition from attack to midfield. So coming into this season, I knew that I would be playing more midfield, and just kind of had to not change my game totally, but work on things that I hadn't worked on in a while. like dodging from up top and shooting from the outside more. So just kind of working on those things more. I worked a lot on my conditioning. You know, there's a lot more running back and forth as a midfielder than there is as an attackman. Worked a lot on my conditioning and just being in the best running shape that I could be in, and also adding more pounds of muscle on in the gym. You know, just trying to get in there at least 5 days a week, and on top of just, you know, all like the typical lacrosse skills like wall ball and shooting and stuff like that.
Have you seen that kind of pay off in these first two games? Even like when you were running the inverted offense, did your, you know, experience at attack help you, you know, from kind of quarterbacking that inverted offense?
Yeah, definitely. I think so. You know, I've been used to being behind the cage my whole life, basically. Even before I got to Syracuse, I played attack in high school, and I think it's a place where I'm very comfortable, and especially having a short stick on me behind there, it kind of just opens up the field for me. I don't have to worry as much about the guy guarding me because I know that, you know, it won't be as difficult for me to get by a short stick as it will be a long stick, especially from behind the goal, because short stick defensive middies aren't as comfortable back there either. So I think that also really played a part this past weekend when you saw me running the invert offense. Yeah, for sure. And the hard work that I had in the summer definitely helps me in the transition game. It helps me clearing and riding, just kind of becoming more of like a complete player on both ends of the field. So yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we go to Errol.
Hey, Owen. What sort of prompted that change to go more up to midfield?
Yeah, you know, we had Chase come in last offseason, who's obviously a great talent and a great player. You know, kind of was a no-brainer that he would be playing attack starting last year. And, you know, Griffin Cook's also a great option down there, and he started. And, you know, I had been doing really well in practice last year, and I just wasn't really getting the runs that I had liked to get down on attack. And, you know, I was doing all the right things in practice, and I felt like I deserved more of a shot out there on the field, and coach saw that as well. So he threw me in at midfield, and it went really, really well. And the plan for last season was to keep me on that second line, rotating in with those guys. And you know, we had Lipka transfer, and that really just kind of opened the window for me to join Buttermore and Lucas on the second line. And yeah, just kind of since the fall, I just had that mindset, like it's kind of like it's my spot to lose, and just kind of taken it and ran with it, and haven't really looked back. And I love the position now, so it's going really well.
And how have you kind of gelled with Jacob and Lucas?
Well, it's great because those two guys have always been some of my best friends here since I stepped on campus, and I actually live with them now. So, you know, I've always been able to gel with them off the field and even on the field when I played attack. You know, back when I was more of like a feeding kind of attackman, I would always look for them because those guys can really, really shoot well. And, you know, I think that's translated to our midfield line now. You know, I think I'm more of like the dodger. You know, I can beat my man and draw the slide, and those guys have the really big shots. You know, I have no issue passing the ball off to them and letting them do what they do really well, which is shoot the ball really hard and really accurately. So I think it's worked well.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Next, we'll go back to Ben.
You know, Owen, you're one of many guys on this team that have gone through, you know, position shifts and changes as they've come through. What kind of versatility does Coach ask from you pretty much since you like step on campus and join the team?
Yeah, I mean, so the plan was for me to be an attackman here, I think, from the first day on. You know, in practice, I had been going back and forth sometimes, you know, when I wasn't getting as much playing time, kind of, you know, playing around with things. You know, I look at it as just trying to be the best kind of all-around lacrosse player that I can be in general. You know, all my years of experience playing attack and behind the goal, you know, that's really like a big cerebral position, and you know, you have to be like the quarterback of the offense, and being able to have that experience for basically my whole life, even before I got to Syracuse, and then switching up to midfield, I still take those things that I learned from being an attackman and learned those first 2-3 years of college. Now I'm applying them to the midfield and also learning more about the position up there. So in terms of being asked to be more versatile, you know, there hasn't really been anything like that specific, to be honest, other than, you know, just having to work on my dodging from up top and shooting from the outside, which has gotten a lot better in this last year. But yeah, I think just kind of the versatility of being able to have that IQ of an attackman and playing up top has been really good for me.
We have time for a couple more. First, we'll go to Andrew.
Going back to what you were saying earlier about the off-season stuff, was there other like teammates up in Syracuse during the summer that you were able to go and work out with? You know, when you were practicing dodging, or were you just kind of dodging on like an invisible defender? And like, where would you guys go up in Syracuse to kind of practice that stuff on the field?
Yeah, so I mean, honestly, with COVID issues, it was kind of hard to always find an open field that was good. We would either just have like a high school field that we could go to that wasn't being used. I had a pop-up goal with me, so some days we would just go find like a grass area in the park and set up the goal and shoot around. Not guys who weren't from Syracuse, they weren't really here too much, but guys like Griffin Cook, who's local, he's a Syracuse guy, so I was kind of with him every day working out, shooting. Pete Fiorini, it's another guy from Baldwinsville that I spent a lot of time with, and he graduated, but even Nick Mellon, we would go do some workouts and dodging and stuff like that. So just kind of using those guys, but yeah, there weren't really like too many guys on the team, and just kind of trying to find whatever opportunity, whatever field was open to use.
Great, thank you.
And for our last one, we'll go back to Arrow.
Sort of just to follow up on that, like what were some of those, I guess, drills that you were kind of working through, and where did they kind of come from? Was it something that maybe even Coach March kind of helped out with?
Right, yeah. So Coach March always does a great job in practice coaching us individually on things. He kind of will send us home with like ideas in our head of things that we need to work on. And, after the season got canceled, we all had like an exit meeting, and he laid out for me specifically, like, you'll probably be playing midfield next year. And, this is what I think that you need to do better on. And like I said, big things were shooting from the outside and my dodging from up top, because I've been dodging from behind the cage, and it's actually a lot different going from behind the cage than from up top. So just kind of working on, wasn't anything crazy, like any complex drills, really just getting into them and just kind of working on that muscle memory for my legs and my shot from up top, just working on that a lot.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Owen. We'll let you hop off so we can get Nick on here in a minute. I appreciate you taking the time.